Yeah, good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? Had a huge weekend. We talked about confidence yesterday and had a huge weekend, and the confidence is obviously much better. Yesterday, I was one, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. I went 5-2 yesterday. Big day. We can go through that. Let's go through the scores quickly. There's gold. 10 o'clock going up. I'm a little concerned that it's going to start dropping because it's 10 o'clock. But I don't know. It went down just before 10, so maybe we won't get too bad of a drop at 39.50. Silver, 48.68. The big barometer here is 50. Once it hit 50, the curtains pulled back. And people will know that that 50 that they've been thinking about is all bullshit. And, it's going to, like I said, it's going 100 to 500 to 1,000. Can't get rid of this hacking cough. Anyway, so once we hit the 50, then everything will be fine. 39.50, we're just smoking. It'll be 4,000 maybe tomorrow, and then we'll get to 4,500, and then we'll get to 5,000, and it'll just keep going because there's no point to go down. Why? Nobody's selling this. This is paper. This isn't even physical. In the physical world we live in, there's nobody selling gold. Everybody's buying. So the price keeps going. My screen adjusted. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, 39.49. The screen reversed back, so I was like, I'm seeing 39.34, but I'm not seeing the drop. So it's 39.49. So again, you have huge demand, which makes the price go up. You have the paper being the paper dollar being worthless. So therefore, there's nothing. There's no other place to go. So you get out of it because you want a Rumpelstiltskin. You've got to get out of the dollar. And this is the only lifeboat. There's one door that's called gold and silver. David, the games were pretty good yesterday. We'll go through them, but the only one I got fooled on was not that Houston beat Baltimore, was the score. I had the game under, and it didn't. It went over. Otherwise, I was pretty sharp. I had Tampa and I had Arizona under, Detroit, Dallas over. And as we learn the teams, this gets a lot easier because now Dallas is treated as an over team. Arizona is treated as an under. So is Tennessee. I know it was a weird ending, but didn't hurt me. It's I was under 49 and it was 43. Tampa 14-0 as a road dog. They came through as a road dog. Anyway, so gold should just keep going because it's COMEX is kind of broken. COMEX has been pushing the price down, price fixing it, I call it, which is what it is, right? You're doing that. Hi, Owas. I'm fine. How are you? So you keep, they can't do it as much because everybody wants gold physical. So when they do these little paper option crap, they have people are saying, I want delivery. It's a two-way street. Somebody sells, somebody buys. So when the US or London sells to put the price down, there's a buyer. There has to be both ways. So the buyer comes and says, I want physical. Well, there's no physical, so the Ponzi scheme's up, which is COMEX. And therefore, the price just keeps going up and up and up, $39.49. And, and you can see it's up $62, which I don't know how they figure it because I don't know what it closed at. I think it was $38.90. So yeah, it's about $60. But it's just going to keep going because there's no stoppage. I have tea. Yeah, I don't know why that's white. There's no stoppage there. So it's just people buying gold because they have to get out of the dollars, and it's gone worldwide, and everybody realizes where they have to go to. A lot of it was in the dollar where people are realizing the dollar has no value. You can't just keep printing it. And then George Soros is trying to collapse the dollar. And Scott Simpson, the Treasury guy, doesn't know what he's doing. And Trump's like a kid. He has no idea what's going on. So he's watching what's happening. And I don't know. He's like a cartoon character. He's like Bart Simpson, Trump. He's not real. Next target gold 4,000. Well, it's going to be 4,000 when we're done here. It's 39.50. Next target's 5,000. Not 4. I mean, it's got to get to 4 to get to 5, but the next target's 5 on its way to 10, on its way to 20. So really, the next target's 20, but we'll keep it simple and say 5,000. And it's just really, there's the amount of demand versus supply, and the amount, there's nobody selling it. So it's just, it keeps, let's say 1,000 people wanted steak, right? You got steak at $15 a pound. You got this line out the door, people wanting steak. Well, they're going to raise the price because people want steak and they keep wanting it, and the price keeps going up and they keep buying it. That's what gold is. It doesn't matter what the price is. You must have gold because your dollar is worthless. So either you sit there with a piece of paper worth 0, or you have gold, where gold not only hedges the value of the dollar dropping, the gold goes up, but gold's real money, and you'll survive with gold. You won't survive with the dollar. So really, that's what it is. So it's just going to keep going. It's just the number of people that will buy gold. And then there's very limited gold when considering all the people, right? You got 9 billion people, and you just have a couple 100,000 tons of gold. So the gold is very limited. There's 2 different type of buyers. There's like China and the pension funds and the militaries and things like that who buy tons of it, right? They're buying bars. Me and you are buying ounces, but we're still buying because we can't afford a ton or a bar, but we certainly will be okay in ounces. So you just keep buying it. And so we're buying the ounces, they're buying the bars, but it's being bought. And then as new people join the game, as all these other countries realize, oh, I got to buy gold, and as more people realize they have to buy gold, just simply keeps pushing the price up. And that's where we are. December 2025. Oh, I don't know. I mean, it might, but you can't forecast that. I can forecast football. I can't because it plays Sunday. Tonight, KC plays Jacksonville. Well, I know the game's tonight. I don't know that. It doesn't matter. There is no like date you should be worrying about. If it's at almost 4,000 now and it's going to go to 5, that's all you care about. You're really doing it because you got to get out of dollars, right? You're getting out of this. This is why you're doing it, and you don't care about the price. It's not a material. It's not an investment. It's merely I got to get out, and where can I go? And there's only one option: gold and silver. That's my option, and I don't care what it is at December 2025. But the sooner I buy it, the better I am because it's cheaper, right? I can get it at $39.45 right now, and I hope it doesn't go down too much at 10 o'clock. Actually, it's 10:30. Okay, we should be all right. But if I wait till December, yeah, it could cost me $5,000. So I'm better off buying it now. So that's where we're at. $39.45, $48.54 silver. People will buy silver because gold will just get too expensive. They only have so much money. Again, there's the real rich people who won't care. They'll just keep buying bars of gold. And then there's the average people, let's say millionaires, down to people with 100 grand, people with 20 grand still. So the people with 50, 60 grand probably will buy silver. People with a couple 100,000 and or their 401ks should buy ounces of gold and silver. And then we'll see. But people don't understand. They're going to reprice it. So when you go to the grocery stores, it's not going to be dollars anymore. It'll be silver. Just like Rome, because the dollars will be worthless. So they either come out with gold-backed dollars or we're just going to use silver and gold. My guess is they'll come out with silver and gold-backed dollars because there's not enough gold in the world for everybody. But if I want some, so this way, and going into the grocery store, Anyway, so the grocery store, the business will need a commodity, a medium of exchange. They'll need something to trade so you can buy their food. And that's it should be gold back, but we're too stupid here, so I don't know what we're coming up with. But don't buy the digital. It's not real. All right. So that's gold. 48.60 silver, 39.45. Okay. 39.48, getting even better. All right. So let's take a look at football. So let's go to the NFL yesterday. And we've got all our scores. So let's look at my score and then the real score. I had Minnesota winning 17-13. They won 21-17. Pretty fucking good. I played it under 42.5, and it was a 38. I did lose on Houston 17-14 over Baltimore. Was 44-10. I did bet that under. I didn't anticipate Houston scoring. Baltimore, they might have had more injuries than I realized. But the line was only 2.5. It's not like it was 10 or anything. I got Carolina winning 20-13 over Miami. They won 27-24. Again, Miami being a favorite, a road favorite, a Z team being a road favorite is never. And they lost in Carolina. And Steve Young doesn't do shit. Now these quarterbacks just kind of run around a little bit. They can't throw. They're just terrible. Denver, Philly. I got 24-20 Philly, and it was 21-17 Denver. Pretty fucking good, that one. I don't like it because you're kind of held hostage. You want to bet Denver as a dog whenever you can, but it's hard at Philly. Not only do you have the travel, but it's Philly, and Philly 24-20, and they lose 21-17. They only score 17, but that's normal on a good Denver defense. It's hard. I didn't play the total, 44. I don't know if I would have played it over or under, and it wasn't under. Dallas over the Jets. I had Dallas 31-23. They win 37-22. Pretty good. I played the over in the game, 48, so I was over 42, and it was a 59. This was probably an easy one. Probably should have been a lock. Obviously, after the game. After the game, I'm real good. But Dallas apparently doesn't miss CeeDee Lamb, and they've been explosive with the new coach. They've been scoring. And the Jets, Fields, I'm sure, ran for a touchdown or something. So even though as inept as the Jets are with Fields, he tends to get you touchdowns running. And then Dak, score. So they both give up 30 points a game. And that's kind of what you got. Should have been a 60, was a 59. And, Dallas, they're just an over team. So you look for over teams playing Dallas, and it's an over. The Giants in New Orleans, a 2-point favorite. I had Giants winning 17-13, and New Orleans wins 26-14. They win by 12. I think they scored late. They're up 5 and got a late touchdown. Dart against Rattler. Dart's terrible. It's hard to believe Rattler's even as bad as he is better than Dart. I don't know what the Giants are doing. That's an easy win if Russell Wilson plays. So you're really scratching your head why everybody's so quick to poo-poo Russell Wilson, Denver, and then Pittsburgh, and now this crap. He's a very good quarterback, so I don't know what's happening, but why would you go to Dart? You tell me Dart's better than Russell Wilson, or it's a learning experience for Dart? Well, didn't he have college? I don't get it. Oakland and Indy. I had Indy 27-14. They win 40-6. They pounded them. Smith against Jones. I love that. Here where you're better off just taking Indy than trying to go over or under, but Indy's playing well. I don't know. They do have a new coach. He's doing something. Right now, I wouldn't bet against Indy. The only loss going to the Rams at the end, and that was expected, but they're not a Z team. So we now have to play Indy almost as an A team. I don't know if they're a live dog to the big boys, Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City, but we'll see. Tampa Bay, Seattle. Seattle, I had 30-27. Tampa wins 38-35 in overtime. Tampa, 14-0 as a road dog now, 15-0 as a road dog. So that's last year and this year. And that's why I do the technical analysis, and that's where the confidence comes from. I see a stat like that, 14-0. Yes, I can use it. Baker's there, the coach is there, and I don't care that Evans is injured. If all of a sudden Godwin's playing, and even then, I don't worry. This is the NFL; their backups are pretty good, and so that gives you the confidence. Oh, well, look, 14-0. They won. They're 15-0. Yeah, okay. What I'm doing is right, and that was good. So that was a good win. Tennessee, Arizona. I had Arizona 20-3, and it should have been 21-3. But a weird play happened at the end of the game. Tennessee they score, and it's 20-12 or something strange like that. And I guess 21-12. And Tennessee has the ball late in the game. They throw an interception, and the guy in it picks it. And he's monkeying around with the ball, and he fumbles. Tennessee recovers for a touchdown. I've never seen this before. Take the interception and go. That's it. The game's over. There's like 2 minutes left. So then Tennessee holds them and kicks a field goal to win at the end, and Arizona got what they deserved. I can't believe this guy would dance it. Just you intercepted the ball, I think, in the end zone. Just run out of bounds. Just go. Get down. You got the ball. That's it. That's the game. So a 22-21 Tennessee. I played it under. I'm under 49, and it's a 43, and it shouldn't have been anywhere near that. I had the score 20-3. I was pretty close on it. Washington, San Diego. Washington's becoming a real strong dog. They're really strong in a teaser. They get Daniels back, even though they're missing the receivers. A lot of running, and San Diego just baffles me. I do not like Harbaugh, and I have San Diego winning 24-17 because I'm a little lost with the receivers being out. And Washington wins 27-10. Just dominated the game. Their defense looks really good. San Diego, I don't know how good Justin Herbert is anymore. And you didn't draft Brock Bowers, so yeah, you got problems, San Diego. You got a bunch of idiots on your offensive coordinator. So Washington, they're the real deal. Them and Indy, I think you can start jumping on. Detroit, laying 10. I got 37-7. They win 37-24. It was 37-7, but all of a sudden he hits Jamar Chase twice for touchdowns, and Detroit shows you their weakness is the secondary, and more guys injured in the secondary. And Detroit wins 37-24. I have them lane 4. That was a big bet. And they just go right through you. They just since he had showed some good defense, they showed that they're actually a pretty good team. If they had Joe Burrow, they'd be a serious playoff team. So we look at the Z teams. So Miami as a road favorite loses. New Orleans as a home favorite does win. Maybe they're not a Z team. We have to adjust. Tennessee as a Z team should have been blown out. We get a real fluky play when that's football, where the guy picks it and then fumbles, and the other team scores a touchdown on the pick. And then Cincinnati as Z team does get killed. Wow, they lose 37-24, but now they're maybe not as, the quarterback got a little confidence. Chase, he finally threw some touchdowns. Chase made one catch, unbelievable. How they get their toes in bounds, just crazy. Like you say, there's no way. And then you stop it and you go, yeah, there's 1 foot in, there's 2 foot in. He's dragging the toe. It's just unbelievable. Then we got New England Buffalo. I have Buffalo 34-13. They lose 23-20. The defensive coordinator needs to go. Okay, New England, all they're doing is Drake May goes back to pass, rolls to his right, and throws it to a receiver on the right sideline. And you're watching this going, who does that look like? Oh, yeah, C.J. Stroud. He does the same thing. He gets the ball, he rolls to his right, and throws it to a one receiver option. Now, okay, can somebody explain this to me? You need to blitz him from the right and not let him roll to the right. So there's got to be a safety man lined up taking that away and letting him figure out a different way to take time. So he's basically every play. I watched the whole fourth quarter. Every play was take the ball, look, never finding anybody, rolling to the right, and there's always one guy on the sidelines. And Buffalo's too stupid to take that route away and too stupid to pressure the right sideline, not let him have it. That's what he wants. He ain't getting it. You go figure out some other way. And Buffalo couldn't figure it out. Buffalo has to have the dumbest defensive coordinator. I don't know if it's their head coach or what. This defensive coordinator needs to be fired. I mean, how can you miss such a basic, obvious play? And Drake May didn't do it once or twice. He did it 10, 15 times. It was C.J. Stroud. And you're not really covering the guy. I mean, he's just throwing the ball out of bounds. And you're not double teaming the guy. There's nobody else he can throw to. It's a one route pattern. And he keeps doing it over and over. What do you think he's trying to do? It's a really bad coaching by Buffalo. That's why I think Mike Vrabel was the better coach there. Tonight we got KC, let's see, 3.5, 45.5. I got 21-17 KC. I think Mahomes. See, here's where we like Spagnuolo as the defensive coordinator. We like Mahomes. He's starting to play better. They're 2-2. They need the game. Jacksonville 3-1. We don't know who they are. Trevor Lawrence stinks. If anybody, he'll go back and try to run. This is the way these quarterbacks do. And I think Detroit figured it out. You rush 5 guys, not 4, because when you rush 4, there's always this running lane for the quarterback. But if you rush 5, you take that lane away. Make Lawrence beat you throwing. He can't. He's a terrible quarterback. So that's yesterday's pros. Now let's look at next week's pros. Now I've injected my own line, and I'm about to look at the line when I came on. I might have to break down and go to the doctor, but I really don't want to take antibiotics. They're really bad for you. It's like radiation. Radiation kills all the cells, not the cancer cells. All you have to do is fast, and your body will clean up the cells. So I might have to fast here. Let my body clean me, but we'll see. Maybe I'll go to the doctor and get antibiotics. Don't really want to. But anyway, so still kind of hacking. But I just took a walk. I feel okay. I'll go swimming. My energy levels are fine. So I don't know. I get a little tired, but anyway. So let's look at my line. I don't want to look at the line yet. So we got Philly goes to the Giants. Now they're off of a loss. The Giants, as you can see, lost to New Orleans. They're terrible. We'll check the injuries, but barring that, when the team like Philly has to win, plays to win, that's what you got, right? So when Philly has to win, they're going to win because they're the better team. They're the best team. So when the best team loses, a Kansas City, a Buffalo, well, Buffalo's not the best, but a Philadelphia, they usually are upset. And then they come on. And when they play, well, the Giants aren't in their class, especially with Jackson Dart. Look for them to make a lot of problems for him. He couldn't do anything in New Orleans, right? What's he going to do here? So that's your Thursday night game. Sunday morning, we got Denver at the Jets in London. Why? Talking to people in Europe, they don't even like football. They like soccer because that's what they grew up playing. None of them played football. So they're it's like if there's a soccer game here, who cares? I wouldn't go to it. I wouldn't even know a big soccer name, except for the one on Euro trip. What was it? The Mighty Red Manchester United. If they came, I wouldn't care. You give me the ticket, I wouldn't go. But I don't know. Anyway, Denver at the Jets from London, 9 a.m. Some more variables that we need to really deal with because now you've added Denver's got a long way to go. Now, is Denver going from they played in Philadelphia? Are they going to go back to Denver or are they going to go from Philadelphia to London and spend the week in London? Either way, it's very disrupting. The Jets, they're in New York, so they got a shorter flight. So it's almost forcing Denver to travel to Philly and then go from Philly to London and not go back to Denver and then not leave on Thursday or something. So it's very, very disruptive. So the Jets, who are the Jets? They got Fields. They play over. I haven't gotten into the dynamics yet because I'll do that. I do that after tonight's game. I reload and resubmit my grades. So maybe New Orleans isn't a Z team anymore. Tennessee will be. The Giants might be a Z team now, the way they look. But you've got to be careful. You can't get caught looking at the last game. So you can't look at Tennessee. Well, I don't know what New England and Buffalo. You can't get too caught up in New England beating Buffalo. They're going to win this game. Who do they play? They play New Orleans. So you can't get too caught up in it. You have to look at the whole. Who is this team for the year? Now, what I start doing as we're getting into week 6 is I start looking at it going, I don't really care about week 1 and 2 because those are really preseason games. And look at Detroit week 1. They were terrible. Now they're playing better, although they're starting to get their injuries again. Offensively, Golf, look, they had some problems yesterday against Cincinnati. Hutchinson made some really good plays. The Lion guy, Hendrickson, he doesn't look very good. He kind of just is standing there, scared to get hurt. And then if the quarterback kind of runs into him, he tackles him. But I don't see him getting off of blocks. Maybe once during the game he actually made a rush, but I think he's scared of his leg, and that's the problem. That's the mental problem of the injury. You get scared, and you can just see he's struggling to do anything, and he's scared of breaking his leg again. Which that's the problem with the injuries, right? It's all mental. So I got Denver -7 to the Jets's. They beat Philly, but again, now it's going to London, and it's fucked up. So I think they should win because of their defense. We'll see. The Rams go to Baltimore. I got the Rams -3. Now we don't know. Is Lamar playing? Is half the team's out? So we'll see. But it's hard. I'm not going to lay 10 points in Baltimore. It ain't going to happen. Cooper Rush isn't really your problem. I think your problem is the defense is pretty much a lot injured there. Again, it's an early game for the Rams. This is not a game. This is probably an over-under game. I don't know. It's not a big game. I'm not laying 7 down to 1 with the Rams at ball. I don't look at Baltimore as, they stink now. It's just, and we'll see who comes back from the injured list. Seattle, Jacksonville. This is a very good game. Jacksonville 3, my line. I got Seattle's usually a very live dog here. I knew they'd lose yesterday. What was that game? Seattle. Oh, yeah, they lost. Yeah, they lost to Tampa. Yeah, I knew they'd lose that game. Seattle's not that strong at home. Seattle is a live dog. Jacksonville is one of these. I just don't. This is a step up for them. I don't think they can handle this. Dallas, Carolina. I got Dallas 4. I locked this game, I think, last year, and I won it easily. Carolina was actually the favorite. I'm curious to see the line, but Dallas, the way they're scoring should be maybe an over in this game, depending on what that is, or depending on who the dog is. So maybe we get Dallas as the dog. That'll make it an easy bet. Cleveland goes to Pitt. I got Pitt -4. Pitt's a good team. Aaron Rodgers at home. Cleveland struggling. I thought, that was the Sunday game. I thought Dillon Gabriel played well, much better than Prime Jr. is going to play, and gave him a chance. Shocked Carson Wentz won the game. But I like Aaron Rodgers here. But keep in mind with Dillon Gabriel, they're a pretty good. They're a much better offense. New England goes to New Orleans. I got New England -3. Rattler, maybe he's a little better than I thought, although I recall him in college, he sucked. And then you have New England, who did nothing. At Buffalo, it was the one receiver played over his head like his life was at stake. like he had a bet on the game and he's all rabid and everything. Like he really, oh, we gotta win, or I'm gonna get killed, which is probably not far off. So I don't know. I don't know how good New England is. I don't like Drake May. Makes a lot of, he goes back to pass and 1, 2. Okay, let's roll to the right. Let's try to run. He's not a good quarterback. Now he's a good athlete. He's a good runner. But he's not a good quarterback. And New Orleans, we'll see. Probably a dog play here. San Diego, Miami. The Kellen Winslow playoff game, 1981, I believe. So San Diego, I got -7 to Miami. Miami's terrible. San Diego, as bad as Harbaugh is, I think they can win this game, especially without Tyreek Hill. Arizona goes to Indy. Now this is, I got Indy -4. Indy is okay. Let's see how good they are. Now Arizona seems to have a decent defense. Kyler Murray wants to keep running. I don't know. So I'm just going to scratch my head with this. I don't. Oh, Arizona's going to bounce back. I don't know that they can. Indy seems like the better team here, so we'll see. Oakland and Tennessee. This is battle of the bad teams. Oakland at home. I got Oakland -4 to Tennessee. Tennessee's terrible. Cam Ward's terrible. Maybe it's an under. Maybe it's an Oakland if we can trust them. 49ers go to Tampa. Now here I like Tampa. Tampa's a very good in covering. 49ers got to travel across the country to go to Tampa. Keep that in mind. So I like Tampa plus minus the points here. Cincinnati goes to Green Bay. Now up until yesterday, I would have said, oh, this is easy. Take Green Bay. I got Green Bay -7. Cincinnati played very well the second half against the Lions. At first, they couldn't do anything. The guy couldn't even complete a pass. Then he finally started hitting. And so I think Browning will have more confidence now. And he hit Chase for 2 touchdowns. So look for that to continue. So Cincinnati, the defense didn't look too bad. Green Bay, I don't know what their problem is. They're pretty pathetic. Lane 7 here. Now, Green Bay's better at home. So we'll see. But it's not going to be that easy for Green Bay. KC and Detroit. This is the Sunday night game. KC, I got KC -3 just because it's at home. Detroit, a lot of injuries to their secondary. Mahomes, we got to see what they do tonight, Mahomes, if everybody gets through the game okay. If Kelsey gets his head out of his ass. Detroit is showing signs. Golf can be had. Cincinnati was putting pressure on them. The one tackle was out for the Lions, and he looked pretty bad, the replacement. It's funny how Sewell didn't go to the left tackle. He stayed on the right tackle for some reason. I don't know. But this should be a close game, maybe an over here. Detroit's more of an over team than an A team. Now, why is there 2 Monday night games? Again, you got to look what they're doing. A Thursday game, a Sunday morning game, the normal Sundays, the Sunday night game, and then two games on Monday night. And they're trying. It's all Vegas trying to get betting. So the more games you signal out. So like if there was like tonight's game, it's you want to. Oh, I want to bet something. I'm going to bet it. Now, yeah, Kansas City, we probably would have bet anyway. But let's say it was, Arizona and Houston. Would you have bet the game? Probably not. But because it's on Monday night, or because Denver and the Jets, well, you maybe not would have bet it, but because it's on Sunday morning, you might bet it. Although I don't know people getting up Sunday morning. I don't understand that at all. This Sunday morning crap. Nobody in Detroit's getting up at 9 to watch it, and I know on the West Coast nobody's getting up at 6:30 to watch it. And so I doubt anybody in the East Coast is getting up to watch Denver and the Jet. Well, maybe there is the Jets, the Jet people, but they had to watch the Jet game anyway. So we got 2 Monday night games, Buffalo at Atlanta. Now, this is a very good game. Michael Penix, he's going to eat that secondary up, and Josh Allen should do well against Buffalo. So we'll see. But Buffalo lost an easy game yesterday, and we'll see what they do. I got Buffalo -4. I'm going to go through the line in a minute. And then the Bears go to Washington, and I got Washington -4. And part of this is what I hope the line is, so I can bet it, and we'll see. The Bears, pretty bad. Washington, Jalen Daniels. Now, I don't know if the receivers, how long they're out. It's funny, McLaurin, doesn't sign his contract, and then boom, boom, finally comes back, and then he gets hurt. I love it. So Washington is -4. Washington looks very good. All right. Now, I still have to rate the teams, but Philadelphia is still going to be an A. So let's go to week 6. Let's see what the real line is. I call it my line is just the Teaser King line, and then here's the real line. And I got Philly -7. I was right there. And the over under 41.5. Denver -7, right on there, and 43.5. That's about right. Denver -7. The Rams -7, 45 to Baltimore. Now I had 3 because I don't know who's coming back yet. Lamar's probably out 2 weeks. It must be a pretty serious hamstring. But again, this is why you got to be careful with running quarterbacks because they get hurt and you're fucked, right? So you really don't want them to run too much because they're going to get hurt. I keep waiting for Josh Allen to finally get hurt. Take the knee. Jacksonville -1 and 45 to Seattle. Pretty good game. Dallas, we were hoping they would be the dog. They're not. They're 3.5 and 49. And in most Dallas games, we're looking for over because they got a good offense and no defense. Pitt -5. I have -4, 37.5. New England -3. I got -3, 45.5. See, it's not hard to get the lines. It's where you think there's something that should be different. Like I didn't have the Rams 7, but everything else I've been dead on. San Diego 644.5. San Diego 644 to Miami at Miami. You think this should be an easy one for San Diego, but their coaching's so bad. Indy -6, 47 to Arizona. This is about what it is. Maybe we'll find out how good Indy is. I'm still not buying them, but they keep covering. That's all I know. I got Oakland -6, 41 to Tennessee. I had a -4. A little bit aggressive with Oakland being a 6-point favorite over anybody. Tampa Bay -3 to San Francisco in a 47. I don't know that Frisco scores that much. Tampa -3. I think that's a little low. I don't think the Niners are strong. So I got 6 there. Green Bay, okay, now here you go. Green Bay -14, 44. So here's where the discrepancy is. I got Green Bay -7. After watching the Lion game and seeing he starts hitting Chase 2 touchdowns and the defense playing pretty good on Detroit in the second half, Cincinnati's not that bad, and yet they got Green Bay -14. I don't see that. Now, part of it is because Green Bay is better at home. But, yeah, they had 2 good games. They beat Detroit at home, and then I don't know where they've been. Then they've fallen apart. Um, and then they lost to the Bears and they lost to Dallas, and that's hardly. Are you telling me because they're at home they're going to blow out Cincinnati? I don't buy that. KC -1.5, 49 to Detroit. Got to be careful here. KC's not an over team. They're not explosive. They were when they had Tyreek Hill. After that, they're not. They score in the 20s and they go, but they're not necessarily high a high scoring team. But Detroit is, but their defense is really weak. So KC should be able to light them up. Buffalo 449 is exactly what I got. 4. The total 49 against Atlanta with Penix. Yeah, that might be over. And Washington -450. That's amazing. I nailed almost the whole board. Buffalo 4, Washington 4. The Bears, I think Washington beats the Bears by more than 4. Titus, how are you? How did we do, Titus? We make any money? Iwas, gold or silver, best physical buy, big profit next 6 months. I'm not quite sure I understand that, but we do our best to try and understand our students. No, I haven't checked my email. I mean, I did before I started. I know I had a pretty good week. The locks Saturday hit. The only loser I had really yesterday was Buffalo and the under in the Houston game, but you might have got off of that because once we saw all the Buffalo players, I couldn't adjust it. I've already posted it. But yeah, you could see where Houston, maybe it's not going under, but everything else hit well. So let me check my email with Titus. That's updated. I don't see you, Titus. When did you send an email? When did you send it? Send it again, Titus. Don't see it. All right. So those are our lines, our initial lines. um, you know, pretty much I know the teams. The teams aren't going to change too much week to week. Philly, obviously, your A team. The Giants, just pathetic. Denver's an A team. The Rams are probably an A or a B. Baltimore is slipping bad. Dallas is an over. Pittsburgh, like a B. New England, I don't know what to call them. San Diego's slipping. Indy's actually an A team against Arizona. Oakland is a weak team as a favorite. Tampa's an A team against the Niners. Green Bay, I don't know. They used to be an A team, and then they played the Bears in Dallas. KC, probably an A team. Detroit is an over. Buffalo and Atlanta are both kind of A or B teams, and then Washington's a strong team. So when I look at this, gold or silver, best physical buy, big profit next 6 months. Yeah, it's best. You got to buy a physical, obviously, because paper doesn't give you anything. So if I buy an ETF or a stock in gold and silver, I don't own anything. It's still in this. So if you buy an ETF, and they're very manipulated, and they're all scams. So you think you're going to make more in it, and you don't. They take a lot of management fees out. So you think you're going to make $20,000, you make $5,000. You can't control it. You're better off in physical. And when the price goes up, you make money. When it, you know exactly. Oh, I got 10 ounces. It's 4,000. I got $40,000. I mean, it's very simple. Nobody can take it away. Oh, now it's worthless. They can do that with the ETFs. They can do a lot of shit with it. And you got to trust Madoff. So you don't want to trust Madoff. All right. So that's the NFL. Who's off of a loss? Philadelphia. I'm only talking important teams. Now, Baltimore is really fading fast. People think they're going to come out in the second half. I don't think so. Seattle off of a tough loss. San Diego's now off of 2 bad losses. Arizona's off a loss that should never have happened. How do you intercept the ball and fumble it gives the other team a touchdown? What are you kidding? Green Bay's coming off of 2 losses, had the bye. And here comes Cincinnati. And then we'll see if KC, hopefully they don't come off of a loss tonight. Buffalo's coming off of a loss. So you got Buffalo and Philly coming off of losses. But Buffalo's at Atlanta. That won't be easy. And Philly's got the Giants, so Philly's probably got the easiest. So watch that spread probably go to 10 by the end of the week. Anyway, we got to rank the teams. So that's the pros. Again, like Drake May, he just runs to the sidelines. It's not that difficult to run to the sidelines and get over there. It seems pretty easy to me that I know he's going to run to the right, like CJ Stroud. I know I should probably have a safety on him, not spying him, but just being, shading the right side and just cutting him off and making him run back, and then helter skelter, and we'll sack him, and he'll lose 20 yards. Like Buffalo, I got to blame the coach for losing that game. Terrible play calling and just terrible defense. Anyway, keep your eye on that. So let's look at college. Now, I haven't penciled in the college lines yet. Well, let's go to baseball for a second. So the Tigers lost with Skubal on the mound. So they're all done because I've never seen a one-man team before in baseball like this. So he's basically a one-man team. They're off today. So they lost, what was the score yesterday? So Toronto wins 13-7. They lead the series 2-0, and I guess it goes to that. Max Fried, wow. Guy got killed. And Skubal lost 3-2 Seattle. Let's see. Now, here's my problem with the Tiger manager, right? So Seattle is Skubal took the loss. They were down 2-0. Oh, I guess they tied it at 2 and then lost 3-2 in the 8th. Yeah, Skubal should have taken the loss. So Scooble pitches 7 innings, gives up 5 hits, 2 runs, and a walk. In 7 innings, he pitches 97 pitches. And then Finnegan loses the game in the eighth, pitched 18 pitches in 10, and some hurler guy gets the one out in the bottom of the eighth. So 97 pitches in a championship playoff game, and you pulled pitcher. Now they were down 2-0. They did tie it at 2 in the eighth, I believe. Yeah, so Scooble's in. He's losing 2-0. So they take him out. They tie the game at 2, and then this Finnegan comes in and loses the game in the eighth, 3-2. And Tigers didn't hit. So again, but if it's me, Scooble's got to pitch the whole game. I'm losing 2-0. Maybe if it was tied, I'd keep him in there, but I'm losing 2-0, and I don't get it. And I would just keep Scooble in there. I'd have him pitch the eighth. Why am I running and pulling him out? He's only pitched 90. Why is 97 the magic number or 100, whatever? So no, he's pitching. If I'm the manager, he's pitching the eighth and the ninth. If it comes to that, this is a playoff game. He's going to go to the Yankees or Boston or somebody, Philadelphia. He's going to go change teams next year anyway. So what do I care if I blow his arm out? I want to blow his arm out and prove that he can pitch 130 pitches in a game and nothing happens to him. So this whole thing's terrible. So the Tigers scored 2 runs in the eighth. Two runs on 1 hit and 1 error. They changed it. The detail is terrible. And then Seattle gets 1 run on 3 hits in the bottom of the eighth to win 3-2. Tigers get 2 runs on 1 hit. How many hits did they even get in the game? 1, 2, 3. The Tigers got 3 hits. Torrey's got a hit. Torkelson got a hit. And Happy Baez got a hit. And this is the first time Torkelson got a hit for an RBI that actually meant something. But this is the problem. You've got 3 hits in the game. What is that? I mean, 3 hits in the game. In a big game, you're getting 3 hits. And comparatively, what did Seattle got against Scooble? 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Polanco got 3 for 4 off of him. Drove in, had a 2-run homer. Oh, no, he had 2 homers. Oh, Polanco got 2 homers off of him. Wow. Yeah, Seattle's got their number. So anyway, you beat Scooble, it's all over because they have nobody left. Scooble is the name. I've been watching Total Recall, and I keep going. Benny's the name. I got 5 kids to feed. So once Scooble loses, they'll hit all the other pitchers, right? And look for them. The game there's no game today. It'll be tomorrow. So it'll be Tuesday and Wednesday, I guess, from Detroit. And then the series will be done because they'll be down 3-1. Because you just lost with Scooble on Sunday. Well, 5 days rest, Monday, Tuesday. And I can't believe they pitched him because he had pitched on Tuesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So he had 4 days rest and they pitched him. So I guess 4 days rest will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So he'll pitch Friday, but there won't be a game Friday. There'll be a game Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday. Anyway, say goodbye to the Tigers. I can't wait. These guys on the radio just make you want to throw up. Oh, the Tigers are owning the World Series. Yeah, really? Oh, okay. Good luck. Oh my God, they got one guy I can't listen to. As soon as I hear him, I turn it off. He's terrible. All right. I'm not going to bore you with all the game. We got Wednesday. We start Missouri State, Middle Tennessee, Liberty, and UTEP. Thursday, LTech, Kennesaw State, East Carolina, Tulane. All right, that's a good game on Thursday. We've got Tulane -7 and 54. Now, I have updated my college, but I got to bring it into my sheet. So what I do is I bring in the new totals, but then I still have to go through like East Car and Tulane, their schedules to see what they really are. So I've got to rethink my college because I'm being fooled into playing the um, bringing in the totals, which include the high school teams. I don't mind. Okay, the Division One Sun Belt teams, but when you get to you got to weed out the high school teams. Unfortunately, all right. So Tulane 754.5. We got to see what they are, but we're just right now just going through the lines. It's Monday morning. Jacksonville State, Sam Houston. Both these teams stink. Look at Jacksonville State's 8.5. Over Sam Houston at Sam Houston, and Jacksonville State's not very good. All right. Let's go to the other games. Southern Miss, Georgia Southern. Southern Miss is starting to play better. This is Marshall South. Southern Miss is 3-60. So you get now Southern Miss is starting to become favored. All right. Friday's games. Jesus Christ. And this is all about gambling. This is all about to isolate. So it's Wednesday night. I'm going to bet on the Missouri State Middle Tennessee game. Thursday, I'm going to bet the East Car Tulane game or the Southern Miss Georgia Southern game. Now we get to Friday. Oh my God. All right. South Florida, North Texas. We got South Florida 167.5. South Florida, they're the ones that beat BYU and they beat Florida. Now that Florida win looks a lot better, doesn't it? They lost to Miami. North Texas, very explosive team. Ooh, yeah, that's why the total is so high, 67. Rutgers goes to Washington. Washington 10-59.5. Excuse me. At least my Social Security came today. I had this revelation yesterday that my Social Security comes next Monday because it's the second Wednesday of the month, but the first was the Wednesday. So that then made Wednesday be the 8th, and I get paid on Monday because it's direct deposit. So I actually got paid today for Social Security. Keep in mind, even though the government's closed, you'll get your Social Security. It's a direct deposit. It's automatically set up, and I'll always get that. Even if I was in Europe, it would still pop in. It just pops into my bank. So even if I'm living there, it would still pop in. It's just I got to be a U.S. citizen, which is fine. I won't admit it though. I won't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody I'm a U.S. citizen. So that did come today. So that was a relief. That's good. Although rent's already paid for. So anyway, so Washington 10-59.5. Washington back at home. They did struggle a little at Maryland as they had to fly cross country. And believe me, this doesn't help them. Flying across the country to Maryland and back, it's not like, oh, okay, now we're all set. It should help them a little, but it's crazy. Now, Rutgers' turn to fly coast to coast. Fresno State 6.5, 45.5. to Colorado State, Fresno State, decent. Colorado State's pretty bad. And then this is a deceiving one. Stanford at SMU is actually Friday night, but they call it Saturday. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. Is this a big news? I don't know if it's Friday night or Saturday. This time makes the. Why would Stanford? Well, maybe it's a big noon game. Well, it's one of the. It's either Friday midnight or Saturday. Yeah, it's probably a Saturday game. SMU minus 20. Stanford stinks 55. All right, let's just go through the big games. UCLA goes to Michigan State again, traveling across the country. Michigan State minus 7.5. They played Nebraska pretty well, lost by 11, 55. Ohio State, Illinois. Ohio State minus 17 and 50. Now, Ohio State's got that killer defense. Illinois, they're not going to do much against Ohio State. Believe me, if Washington at Washington couldn't do much, Illinois at Illinois. I mean, when you take a good look at Ohio State, they're not losing this game. Illinois got killed by Indiana, and I think Ohio State will do. They'll figure it out. I have no thought of, I'll take Illinois as a home dog like I did Washington, but you learn. You can fool me once taking Washington, but you're not. And I should have won that one, but it's just they're so hard to score on Ohio State. So we'll see. Houston 14-47.5 to Oklahoma State, who's a Z team, but Houston isn't looking very good. Hey, Alex, you got Ohio State minus 13.5 already, up to 16. Yeah, it's actually up to 17. 16.5. But Illinois, I don't think anybody can really give them a game except for they'll lose to Michigan somehow. Alabama 353.5 to Missouri. I like Missouri, but then I looked at their schedule, and here's where you get fooled. I go, wow, they beat Kansas. Well, they really beat them by 4, and they did a 70-yard run with like a minute left, just handing the ball off. So they beat them by 11, so they look better. But really, they played Division II. They played UMass. They played somebody else, and then they beat South Carolina 29-20. So they beat Kansas by 4 and South Carolina by 9. Here comes Alabama, and they're looking really good. So I don't know. I think this spread's a little low. I think Missouri might not be that good, or maybe they are, and they'll show us. I like the quarterback, but he had a big day against Kansas. But as I'm seeing a lot of teams, Cincinnati had a big day against Kansas. So I'm overvaluing teams based on week 1. Kansas killed Fresno State, who's 5-1. I'm overvaluing Kansas for that, though, when they lose to Cincinnati, and they barely beat UCF. So they're an average team, Kansas. So that makes the Missouri win not as high as I thought it was. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the way Alabama's rolling, look out. Steve DeBoer's got a great, or Keith DeBoer, Greg DeBoer. We'll call him DeBoer. Very good offensive coach, as Michael Penix can show you. So he'll figure out a way. Missouri's very good team, but they just beat South Carolina and Kansas. Not now, if they can beat Alabama and Georgia, then that's a little horse of a different color. But they haven't done that yet. So not sure what to do there. I think Alabama probably is it. UCF goes to Cincinnati, speak of the Devils. And Cincinnati minus 10 and 55. Okay. Cincinnati looked really good the last couple of weeks. They looked good beating Kansas, and then they looked good beating Iowa State. We got half pointed there. I was so pissed. 7.5. They lose 38-30, 38-37.5. Jesus. Iowa State's a good team. So Cincinnati. So then you take that to Cincinnati being good. UCF not. Yeah, Cincinnati probably handles them here. We'll see. Pitt goes to Florida State. Florida State minus 10. That seems low. And 58. Florida State now with 2 losses. Losing to Miami and losing to Virginia. So they're on a 2-loss. Pitt, pretty good offense, good quarterback in Holstein, but look for Florida State. I mean, they came back good against Miami. They never should have got down to Miami. And look out here. So what did Howard Schnellenberger come back to coach Miami? Cristobal sucks. He's such a bad coach. All right, look, Florida State here off of 2 losses definitely will be playing very good. Charlotte goes to the Army. Charlotte's terrible. Washington State gets Ole Miss. This line seems a bit crazy. Ole Miss minus 32. This is Washington State. This isn't Washington at an apple tree. Jesus, 32 against Washington State. That's a big number. Maybe it was Cam Ward back there. Let's see. UMass and Kent, a battle of the Z's. Kent minus 3. Even Kent's favorite over UMass. Kent's a Z team. They couldn't beat a high school team, and they're 349 over UMass. And I bet they win because UMass can't beat anybody. My old D came back to haunt me as they killed Coastal Carolina. Old D 14-54. Very good team, Old D. Old Dominion, they're Virginia team, I think. NC State goes to Notre Dame. Notre Dame minus 22 and 61. And then we got our Oklahoma-Texas game. Texas is 2.5, 42.5. This is your free play. You're going to go under 42.5. I already bet it at 56. It was 56 at one of the places and 46 at another place. So I've already got this in and posted at 56. Oklahoma, Texas under. Oklahoma quarterback got a broken hand. Texas has Arch Manning, which if they could injure him and come into the backup, look pretty good. 2 strong defenses. And no quarterbacks. So this has under all over it. So this is a free pay. This is 42.5, so 48.5, but it's even that side. It should be in the 30s. So that's your free play. Go under. Let me highlight it so I don't forget it. Because I always like, where's the free play? I got to remember it. What am I doing here? Hey, when you drop your phone and you lose your place. All right, let's see. All right. Wake Forest, Oregon State. Nothing. All right. Indiana and Oregon. We got Oregon minus 8.5, 55.5. Indiana's very good. Oregon, we know, played pretty good against Penn State, but I think that's more Penn State sucking than Oregon. They did score. Indiana, very explosive team. These teams both average like 50 points a game. Indy's just going to run it down their throat, and so is Oregon. I would think this would be high scoring. Just the nature, the way Indiana is. And Oregon, I think in these type of games tend to try to score a lot. Titus, I noticed injuries not affecting the games. Only if it's the court, like Lamar, right? If it's Lamar, yeah. CeeDee Lamb, no. I don't know if you're talking college or pro. CeeDee Lamb apparently has no effect. Trying to think of these other games, but yeah, it's just when it's the quarterback. So it'll affect it in the Oklahoma game, their backup, just because he's not as good as the quarterback, Matera. So that, but Texas with the very strong defense. So I've been playing Texas under, so this will be the third under. I locked him against Ohio State, which won. I locked him last week against Florida, which won. We're under 53. It was a 50. I'm not sure how Florida got 29 points because Langby's terrible. But that's it. So they do and they don't. Titus. Depends who the injury is. Like if golf gets hurt for the Lions, yeah, they're in big trouble. Alita Bianchi. All right, are you Italian? Excellent quality on Screen Variety TV One, I see. I think you can connect your TV to PC and enjoy your quality there. I don't know what that is, so I apologize. App State, Georgia's no. Okay, Northwestern, Penn State. We've got Penn State minus 21 and 48. Penn State's now off of 2 losses in a row. Losing to Oregon, okay, Oregon's a top 5 team. Losing at UCLA, and the kid was this first game as an offensive coordinator. Northwestern, all right, they beat a Z team last week. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, I mean, now Drew Allard's terrible, and I think we see he was like Mr. Ohio. I love how these high schools vote, and it's like, well, you don't know if it's accurate. You know, is the guy the best one? It's just somebody voted. So they will be pissed. They get Northwestern, who's not very good. At least we now see who Penn State is. They played 2 real teams and got killed by both of them. Well, they didn't get killed by Oregon, but they got killed by UCLA, who hadn't won a game. I mean, UCLA lost to Utah, killed them. Now that win looks a lot better, what Utah did. All right, TCU, Kansas State, TCU minus 1.5. Ooh, 57.5. TCU minus 1.5. The Kansas State's not that good this year. TCU did pull away from Colorado Saturday night. Iowa State 3.5, 51.5 at Colorado. They're a very good team. They don't lose two games in a row too often. Rough morning. Let me get some more water. All right. So Iowa State, Colorado. Iowa State off of a tough loss to Cincinnati. Colorado's not without Prime Junior. He's not doing anything. Nebraska goes to Maryland, and Nebraska's a 6-point favorite in 47. I don't know if Nebraska's that good, but do we really know how good Maryland is? They played Washington tough. Washington's a very good team. VTech goes to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech 14 and 55. And VTech's a very bad team this year. Look for Georgia Tech here. The Air Force goes to Vegas. That's funny. The Air Force going to Vegas. Vegas 5.5, 68. Is that what Vegas is counting on? People coming to play the sports teams? That's how they'll survive. Let's see, if you go play the Raiders, that's one team going. And if you go play the UNLVs, well, they you got the Air Force there, keeping it pumped up. Navy and Temple, very good game here. Navy 7.5, 52.5. Seeing those rivalry games, they played the Air Force tough. Air Force is not that good this year. Temple's very good. They got a big win and last week. And Navy 7.5 at Temple. This will be a good game. Arkansas goes to Tennessee. We get Tennessee back home for it's been about a month. 69.5. That's going to be a good game the third week in October. Alabama goes to Tennessee. Well, I'm not sure if they go to Tennessee. They play each other the third Saturday in October every year for the last 100 years. So if it's at Alabama or Tennessee, it should be good with Joey Aguilar. 13.5, 69. Arkansas, I don't know. Are they that capable? But Tennessee's going to light you up. Good offense. Florida goes to A&M. A&M minus 7.5. And 46.5. A&M showed good. They beat a pretty good team last week. I need my sheet. Oh, here it is. I got to go to the library and copy. So I do these sheets just to write the games down, and then I can study it easier there. I can't really put this in my computer, but I got to go to the library and make 10 copies of the pros. So I have for this year. A&M beat Mississippi State. I haven't filled in the numbers yet. They beat them good. Yeah, I forgot. I didn't put the scores in yet. I know all the scores I need for my picks, but Iowa, Wisconsin, Iowa 3.5, 37.5. We're back with the 37 Iowas. Wisconsin showed a pretty good defense against Michigan. Kansas goes to Texas Tech. Texas Tech 14, 60.5. This was a weird one because when I went in to look at this line yesterday, one line had Kansas -4 and one line had Texas Tech -11. So I don't know what they're playing around with on Sunday, but if you want to bet, you should be betting college games on Sunday. Texas Tech 14, 60.5. Yeah, that's Texas Tech's been looking really good. Kansas, I wouldn't want to lay too many points against Kansas. I can't take Kansas in 20 here, but it wouldn't surprise me if they are the ones who can beat Texas Tech. They're just a good coach team, but I think they've had some injuries. USC 2.5, 57.5. I like them over Michigan this week. Purdue and Minnesota, many 7.5, 51.5. And I kind of like Purdue. They've got a good coach, and the quarterback's okay. They've been playing pretty decent ball. So in Minnesota, and they never had a chance against Ohio State. Clemson 14.5, 54 to BC. And again, BC's young, pretty high scoring, and Clemson, I don't know who they are right now. Rice goes to UTSA, UTSA 12.5, 49.5. UTSA is always explosive. Rice is a good defensive team. Georgia and Auburn. Georgia 3.5, 46.5. We'll see how good Georgia is. They did get they did get the win against, who'd you play, Georgia? They were laying 20 and won by 21. Kentucky. So they did beat Kentucky by 21. And now they're at Auburn. We don't know how good Auburn is. Georgia's 3.5, 46. So Georgia, I don't know. I don't know how good the quarterback is. South Carolina at LSU. LSU 9.5, 43.5. I don't know. Both these teams are disappointing this year. LSU at home usually is good, but I don't know. They probably get the win there, but yeah, it's been a tough year. They're 4-1, but I don't know. BYU, Arizona, BYU 2.5, 47.5. And it wasn't this bad yesterday. BYU 2.5, 47.5 at Arizona. Arizona, decent team. BYU, pretty strong team with a very good defense. New Mexico and Boise. We've got Boise 16.5, 60. New Mexico's not bad. Boise didn't look good against Notre Dame, 5 interceptions. Utah, 5.5, 48.5. I haven't seen Utah in a while. 5.5, 48.5. That's the problem with college. Like, oh, you start betting on Utah, then a week off, a high school game. They're playing, nobody laying 40 points. And then finally, now here they are, Arizona State. And, Arizona State, a fairly good team. Utah, interesting. San Diego State, 741.5. To Nevada, who's not very good. And our last game is Hawaii, 1.5. 58.5. This is a very interesting game, this one. Hawaii, Utah State. Utah State's changed coaches to Brock and Mendenhall, used to coach BYU. He's a very good coach. They've been scoring a lot of points. They're a very live dog here, Utah State. It could be our bitches next week. So you're starting to get the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the SEC starting to play each other. So you're starting, and then it's trying to figure out, A&M in Florida. Okay, Florida had the big win over Texas. How big was it? It's Arch Manning. You're facing a whole different animal and Reed, the quarterbacks for A&M. So we look at it. So again, the free pick, Texas, Oklahoma. Now I played it much higher, but that's what I was doing on my Sunday, was just looking at the lines. I was really curious on that game. Like I said, I saw it at 56. I saw it at 46. I, of course, the 56, but now it's down to 42. It's not as appetizing as it was at 56. So that's college football. I got to put the scores in from last week. I got to get more of those. And we are looking. So tonight, Kansas City, I got 21-17. I have played it. I get 2.5. I don't buy Jacksonville yet. They did lose at San Francisco. KC's playing better. Now, I don't think Jacksonville's the WZ team they've been the last few years. I think they're better, but we'll see. We, again, really don't know. It's terrible draft if they took in the guy from Colorado. You never draft a running back with the third pick in the draft. That's just retarded. Because you could have got a similar wide receiver in later rounds or the late or second, third round. You don't waste a draft pick you don't waste a third pick on a wide receiver. The Detroit Lions did that a lot when they had Matt Millen. Kept drafting wide receivers, Charles Rogers and Roy Simpson or whatever. It was like Roy Williams, Walt Disney, whatever his name is. Yeah, I know I'm really good at it. Thank you, David. I've been doing this since the 70s. It's what I do. I was talking to somebody. I'm going to be on a podcast, I think, coming up. And I had to explain myself. And you basically are looking at, well, how do you pick the game? And I said, well, it's a lot of feel. It's a touchy feel thing. But you got to understand it. It's just like gold. Why do we go with gold? Because you really have to understand it's your only option. But how many people understand gold's the only option? How many people understand this has lost its value, and then it's where do I go? And it's gold and silver. But I got that from the betting. How do I pick the games? And it's an analytical thing, and it's a feel thing too. Gino needs the gold. I would keep Gino, and then you get Sawyer Robertson from Baylor, or you get Dampier from Utah, or you can get Arch Manning if you want to deal with the Mannings. Him and the Sanders can make you drive you nuts. But no, I would keep Gino, and then I'd go right to Sawyer Robertson with the first pick. The Baylor kid, maybe this Morton, the Texas Tech guy, any one of those guys, and you'll be fine. Again, Oregon, Bo Nix, he's fine, and now Dylan Gabriel looked good yesterday, and now they have Dante Moore. I wouldn't be running after him from Oregon, but this Washington kid, the kid on Washington, is very good, but he's just a sophomore. He'll be there another year, this year and next year. Even the kid on Ohio State's looking good. The kid on Alabama, these younger guys who we didn't know. See, this is what we like to bet, the known. So we know how good this quarterback is, let's say. Um, so we bet him, right? Our guy, Dampier, Utah, Baylor guy. But we can't really bet Ohio State until we see the quarterback. Now I think we have an idea of their quarterbacks. We can start betting them. Then you get into a situation where Drew Aller is not that good, but you think he is. That's where you get problem. You say, oh, this guy's good, but he's not. So you like betting the known quantity. So when the draft comes, and here's Robertson from Baylor, and you got the kid from Texas Tech, and you got the kid from Utah, and these some of these others. North Texas is now at Virginia. Dagiopava. That's who Oakland should get, Dagiopava. But I mean, those are known like, and then they'll come up with like an Anthony Richardson. Wait a minute, you could have Dagiopava, you can, boom, 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 and you go with an Anthony Richardson, and he stinks, and you wonder, well, why did you make that? It's like Daniel Jones or Kenny Pickett or Fields, like all the quarterbacks you could have. Look at Caleb, you could have had Daniels. What are you thinking? And it just blows your mind how stupid these guys are. But anyway, Mark McGuire, I watched his thing twice yesterday just to see what the fuck I'm missing. And it's really just China setting the price on Comex, which we can kind of see, today anyway. Okay, Titus, I got your emails. You must have, okay. A lot of attachments, Titus. I don't care about Amazon. And gold still going, 39.57 and 48.66 silver. We're close to getting to 50 for silver. See, you can't predict how long this is, at the time this will go to 4,000. You can't predict it. It looks like it's going to happen by the end of the day, but it might not. It might stall and go down a little to 39 and then finally go to 4. That we knew this would go to 39 once we saw it hit 39, and then it kind of went back to 38, 80. We knew, well, it's going to go to 39. And the same thing, we know it's going to 4,000. It's 39.58. That's 48.66. So we know where it's headed. It's just a matter of that. I've been watching this one on castor oil and cloves. Do you eat cloves? Or is it like a spice? Like my spices I put in my omelet, and I actually am eating the spice, but I don't know it because it's among 3 eggs and turkey and stuff like that. So I'm kind of watching this. I'll get more on it. But she does a lot of that. Here's an interesting one. I'm going to show you on the Romans how they purified their water. I was like, yeah, how did they do it? This is 2,000 years ago, and yet it was very clever. They had engineers back there.
Purified their water all along the aqueduct. To remove sediments and impurities, the water passed through settling tanks. These decanters, lined with waterproof mortar, were usually located near the water source and/or just before the aqueduct entered the city. Water entered through the top of the tank and flowed slowly through a series of chambers. This allowed suspended particles to settle at the bottom under the force of gravity. Because the cleanest water remained at the surface, the outlet was placed just below the entry point. The size and number of chambers depended on the quality of the incoming water, the flow rate, and the needs of the city. That's why these decanters varied so much in design, from modest basins to complex multi-chambered systems. The La Malga cisterns in Carthage, Tunisia are a stunning example. The decantation process constantly left a layer of sediment at the bottom. Some basins had a special outlet to evacuate this deposit, but in many cases, it had to be removed manually by slaves. In some aqueducts, Roman engineers also created small sedimentation pits. These clever features gently slowed the flow just enough to trap sediments and impurities. Once again, Roman engineering proves its genius, blending grand design with meticulous practicality.
Isn't that unbelievable? Because you're talking 2,000 years ago, and they were able. I don't know how it works now, right? And they aqueducts and the water, and then all the impurities go to the bottom, and they're kind of swept out, and the water gets what they were drinking was pretty pure water. It just blows my mind when I hear stuff like that. Leave it to the Romans. They could do all that, and they couldn't handle their money. See, here's one where she says it, but it's too long. I mean, it's 20 minutes, but it's chew 2 gloves on an empty stomach, and it's supposed to be very, very healthy. But I don't know what cloves taste like to chew them. I'll have to get back with you on that. I'll have to be the guinea pig. This was this gambling expert on Joe Rogan, who's pretty stupid, but we can watch a few minutes of it. It is up our alley.
And most people are just not that sophisticated when it comes to these things. If they're betting.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
And most people are just not that sophisticated when it comes to these things. If they're betting using an app or something like that, betting online, they're just doing it for fun. They think they could win. They got a feeling. They want to bet their team. They want to make the game more exciting. And so those people are basically like very they're very under researched. They don't have like the full grasp of understanding of the complexities of sports gambling, because it's a lot more complex than I ever thought. When I was going over your stuff, I was like, oh my goodness, like this involves so much time. This is not a simple thing as like, oh, I follow sports, I think Kansas City's going to win. It's not. It's complicated, very, very complicated. And to win at a level that you won at over your career, and the numbers, like what is the biggest bet you ever placed?
I bet $4.5 million on New Orleans to beat the Indianapolis Colts in the Super Bowl. That's the biggest bet I ever placed.
Did you win?
I did. I won it. I got lucky and I won it.
You got lucky on that one?
Well, yeah. I mean, anytime you win, I mean, I feel like I'm lucky. I mean, Joe, the world's made up of a lot of different kind of people, as we both know, and but no, I feel like anytime I win a bet, I got lucky. I mean, because there's, but no, I won a bet, and the reason I had such a big bet is what I do, Joe, is I make a line on the game myself. My prediction of what I feel like the differential should be,
independent of what the experts.
Completely independent.
The experts.
I don't even look at their line when I make my line.
Really?
No,
that's high level shit.
Well, that's all. That's all. I'm doing the same thing they're doing.
Right.
I mean, believe me, the principles that I'm following and making my line are the same principles that the handicapper is making.
And that's bullshit. That is not what they're doing. The handicapper in Vegas who sets the line is trying to make the betting even. He is not trying to make the game come out where this is, I think Kansas City is 3.5 points better than Jacksonville. That's bullshit. That's to get the betting even. What the real line is on that game, I got happens to be 21-17 Kansas City. But that's just my thought of what the real score is. The 3.5 is bullshit. What did I do yesterday? I had Indy 27-14, right? To win by 13. They won 40-6, but the line Vegas gave was 7, which was to make the betting even, not what the thought is. So I'm thinking Indy's going to win by 13 and the line's only 7. So, I mean, that's not what Vegas is doing. This guy's wrong. They are trying to get the betting even, because the way a bookie works. So if I'm a bookie and I get 100,000 on Oakland and I get 100,000 on Indy, or I get $1 million on each, I win 100,000 in juice. That's what I was trying to say. So I win but if I get the betting even, if my books are balanced, I'm going to win the juice. I win the juice. That's it. That's all a bookie's really trying to do, is win the juice. And that's not that's the point of the line, is to get $1 million here and $1 million there, and somebody's going to lose. They'll pay $1.1 million, and I pay out the $1 million and I win the 100,000. That's what the line is. This guy's full of shit. This guy's a professional gambler, doesn't know the most basic thing of making a line. Titus, do you like tonight's game? Yeah, I took Kansas City in a teaser. I wouldn't bet KC straight, but in a teaser they're getting 2.5. Yeah, I do like that, because I think that Mahomes is on a roll, and I'll take him over Trevor Lawrence all day. I don't know who Jacksonville is yet. They did. I think that they beat the Niners, but the Niners aren't that good. David, well, I don't know that Pavia had a tough game this week, but I think he's the best quarterback. But against Alabama, it's not. There's 11 players on the field, but I think he's the best quarterback. I mean, you could have, Joe Montana went up against the 85 Bears. He didn't look that great. He's still a great quarterback. So, you went up against the 88, 89 Giants with Lawrence Taylor. You're not going to look great. That doesn't mean you're not a great quarterback, so I don't know. That's a bad statement.
It's just kind of like baking a cake, One guy might put a little bit more flour in than the other guy does. And so that's how we end up with different, lines, different numbers. So I make a line on each and every outcome of the sports that I'm involved
And you betting this on the individual players, their overall career, what age they are, how they've been playing this season, who the coach is, all the different factors, whether or not there's in-player disputes in between players. Like, there's a lot of things to take into consideration.
Again, I put it all in the book, and you're right. There's a lot of different factors that go into that. Some more important than others. But
see, that's the other problem he's wrong in. Only certain factors matter: your quarterback, your coach, your defense. All this other bullshit he's talking about doesn't mean anything. It's who's my Daggio? I bet on Vander with Daggio, and I won because of Daggio. I don't know the guard's name or the other receivers. I don't care, because he scores and he wins, and that's what I'm looking for. Dampier at Utah, the Baylor quarterback, he's good for a bunch of points. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at the certain guys that do it, but on the reverse, when I got a Lamar, I'm not looking at Lamar to win me money. He loses me money. He doesn't win me money. So no, there's a lot of stats you could come up with, but doesn't mean the stats are very, are all good or not. So the key is to understand which stats are good, which stats are meaningful to make up your lines. And then it's a little bit of a feel. I had Carolina beating Miami 20-13. They won 27-24. I didn't look at every player and look at stats and look at this. I just said Miami without Tyreek Hill are not very. Who's Tagovailoa going to throw to? He stinks, and I know Steve Young stinks. So I just thought, well, I'll take Carolina because they're a home dog to a shit Miami team, and that came in, and that's what it's what works. That's the confidence part. It's looking at that, and I'm picking these games, and I'm pretty damn accurate yesterday. That's what you're looking at. That's the whole point of it. But there's too many variables Joe Rogan's looking at that says, no, this is good. Yeah.
There's a lot of factors. And then what happens is the larger the differential between the number they make and my opinion, the larger bet I make. There has to be a minimum of a certain amount of separation or I won't make a bet. But the larger the difference is between my opinion and their opinion, the larger bet I make. So I'll just give you a rough example. Let's say the NFL. And let's say I would have to have a minimum of, say, 1.5 differential from the line they make from the line I make. 1.5, 2 points. Well, I would bet 1 unit. Okay. That would be the smallest bet I would make. But for each half point, so if I made the line on a game 6 and they had it 8, I would bet 1 unit. If they made it 8.5, I would bet 2 units. If they made it 9, I would bet 3 units. If they made it 9.5, I would bet 4 units. If they made it 10, I would bet 5 units. Well, the New Orleans game you asked me about, which I couldn't believe, was a Super Bowl game. And this type of year, we never get this kind of differential. But I had like a 7-point differential between the line I made and the line they made. They made Indianapolis 7, and I thought the game should be pick 'em. And when I saw the line, I couldn't believe it. I went back. I said, well, maybe I made a mistake here. I went back, redid it. No, pick 'em.
Well, this is the point he misses. It was because it was Peyton Manning. And they knew everybody was going to bet on Peyton Manning, so they made Indy -7. You had Drew Brees on the other side. That's why the game should have been even. But with Peyton Manning, people were betting on Peyton Manning, so they factored that in. So the line again was to make the betting even, not to do that. And so he's sitting there going, "Well, I got Drew Brees. This is a dead even game. I'm going to bet New Orleans. I'm betting New Orleans." And when Seattle played Denver and they killed them by 100, right? I had Denver in the game. No, I had Seattle in the Legion of Boom because I said nobody's going to score on this defense, and they just killed them. But if you just looked at the game, you never would have played Denver, and Denver was the favorite. I think Denver was a 2-point favorite. After the first snap, went overhead for a safety, I said the game's over. I never won a game so fast in my life. Peyton Manning's scared out of his mind. But again, just looking at the game, you would have played Seattle in the Legion of Boom if you get a defense like that. That's why I'm all over that Georgia defense or Utah this year or BYU's got a good defense because you get that good defense. How does he factor that in? He can't factor it in. He doesn't know what he's doing. And this is a professional. Oh, my God. At what level are we then? We're much higher than this idiot.
So that's how I ended up with such a large bet. When you go through something like that, how much time are we talking? Like
5
if you're
minutes.
placing a $4 million bet on a Super Bowl game, how much time are you researching? Well, but that time of the year, I mean, all our research is done. I mean, it's this last game here. Okay, the only changes you're going to make from the last games that these two teams played during the Super Bowl is, okay, are there any players injured that didn't which you have to account for? And clearly, if they're playing on a different surface or something, maybe than the teams normally do, it's very small. I mean, the second the game's over,
we can have the line on the next game within 6 hours. It's not a problem, or less. I mean, unless it involves, some injury or something that, may take us until we get some more clarity on that. But I'm going to know real close to where I'm at, frankly, as soon as the game's over, almost within an hour or two.
Now, there's been some times over the years where referees, specifically in basketball games, have been caught doing things,
Cheating.
calling penalties, trying to swing the game in favor of another team, and they get caught for it and busted. How much do you think that goes on today? Like, how much do you think, like, referees are bought off, or maybe perhaps they're betting themselves?
I don't think that exists at all, Joe.
Really?
And if it does, it's very, very small.
But it has been, right?
Things have happened in the past, but you know who uncovered each and every one of those? Gamblers. People betting sports and bookmakers. They're the ones that made law enforcement aware of these things. Because at the end of the day, whether you're a casino or whether you're a bettor, the integrity of sports is the most important thing in the world to you. A good thing about what's going on today, there's probably more transparency in betting today than there ever has been. All of the legalized gambling that's taking place, they have everyone's account information. They know everything you're doing. And the other thing about betting on sports, Joe, unlike, say, Wall Street, it is a small market, much, much smaller market than Wall Street. So if you go out and you make a sizable bet in sports, the line's going to move, and it's impossible to hide it. Okay, now
running hurts. Tai Chi heals, especially after.
Possible to hide it. Okay, now there's people such as myself, and I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people in the sports business. If they see a line on a game move a half a point, or whatever, they know who calls that line to move 99% of the time. Okay, I'll give you an example. The Arizona State situation that came up years ago. I don't know if you remember that one or not. It was their basketball team, and they were fixing games. And then what happened? There was a bunch of guys that came to Las Vegas, and they bet on one of these games. The line moved 6 or 7 points. I bet on the other side of it because, of the line I make. And, of course, I had no idea that, they were shaving points. And I lost the bet. Well, they came back to town a little bit later, and they brought 6, 7 guys, and they were going to all the different sports books, and they were betting, and the line moved 6 or 7 points again. Lines on games don't move 6 or 7 points. Well, the second time I didn't bet and sure enough, they won the game by like 20 again. Well, they came back the third time, but now I'm taping the games. I'm looking at the games. They came back the third time, and they did the same thing. Well, I called Steve Ducharme, who was the head of Game and Control for the Game and Control Board. He was the law enforcement part of Game and Control, and told him what was going on. And they dispatched some agents. They tried to get these people to talk to them. They left Las Vegas, went back to Arizona. And then later on, I think one of them got kind of caught up in a drug deal. And then it came out they were fixing games. And there were a couple of players that were intentionally thrown off, and they were fixing games. And that's how that scandal came out. I guess.
So it was exposed by gamblers.
Oh, it's by gamblers. And
how did you know how did you know it wasn't just luck?
Well, I mean, Joe, look, this would be like tracking an elephant in the snow. I mean, you got guys who no one's ever laid eyes on, and they come to Las Vegas, and they bet on a game, and they move it 6 or 7 points. If you're a handicapper, you know anything at all about betting sports, if the line moves, it's and you're laying a second or third point. You better have a really strong opinion, because they move this line for one reason. It's to make it a lot less appealing to the person betting on that team. So when somebody comes to town and they move a line 6 or 7 points, no better in the world is going to do that. And in order to do that, they went to every sports book in town, and they just, they laid, 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10. Okay, well, because they were new to betting. Okay, they knew they had had an edge because of what they were doing, but they didn't know anything about betting. As a result, they created something that was easy for anyone to see. I saw it again the first time. I didn't know, the exact. I didn't know exactly who was doing it, and I bet on the other side. Of course, I lost my money, and of course, I came back the second time. I'd seen these things before, and I didn't bet. And then, of course, we taped the game. We looked at it. It was pretty easy to see who was doing what they were doing. They came back the third time, did the same thing. Frankly, to give you these guys were trying to break in jails, what they were trying to do. Anybody would do what they were doing was just stupid. Anyone could see what they were doing. So the only thing surprised me, it took 3 games for someone to finally turn them in. And sports books, I don't think ever turned them in. I called the Shar myself because, again, anything that involves the integrity of sports, they're affecting my business. If people get to where they don't trust betting on sports, then the limits are going to go down, and it's going to reduce my ability to be able to bet on sports. The other one, with the referee, the NFL referee, gamblers knew about that 8 months before he got busted by law enforcement. People quit betting on the games.
Really?
Oh, well, sure. It wasn't like
they just suspected that the calls were bad.
No, what happened? Anytime, again, Joe, because the market's so small. Okay, think about the New York Stock Exchange, or think about Apple stock. You could buy $500 million worth of Apple stock, and the price on Apple stock would barely move. Okay, on an NFL, on an NBA basketball game, if you were to bet $250,000 on an NFL basketball game, it would probably move 1.5, 2 points. So, and again, the people taking the bet, people such as myself and others, if a line moves on a game and it moves like that, and okay, I want to know who bet on that game. If it's another handicapper, or there's an injury out, or there's something there that makes sense as to why that game moved, then okay, I understand it. But if there's some mysterious person that's betting a lot of money on a game that hasn't been doing this for a period of time, and then I'm looking at an outcome of a game that doesn't make sense, if I tape it and I see something that's out of the ordinary about the way the game's being officiated or some player's performance, this stuff is easy, Joe, to see. And you're not dealing here with master criminals. You're dealing with people that frankly are very smart, and they're not very smart to be doing what they're doing, and the way they go about it, they're even I don't know if you remember the thing years ago with Hot Rod Williams. There's the ones.
What was that thing?
Well, it was an NBA thing also. But all of the ones, if you go back and you look at the last 5 sports deals, whatever they were, small or big, every one of them were uncovered like that. And so I did an interview one time on 60 Minutes in 2011, and I was asked at the end of the interview which I had the most confidence in, betting on sports or investing in stocks. And my answer was, I have a lot more confidence in betting on sports for the reason I pointed out. It's a much smaller market, but as far as things being on the up and up, I have a lot more confidence in that now, way more confidence in that than I do the other.
Well, obviously you know it well.
Well, I not.
No, how much confidence do we have in COMEX? 0? That's why I stay away from stocks. It's very heavily manipulated by the banks. Basically, you just don't want to play with the banks because they'll cheat you every time. So football, pretty much we got Mahomes tonight. We know what we're getting. Yeah, Jacksonville might win. But we can bet on Mahomes. You can't do that on Wall Street. Now, betting on gold's like betting on Mahomes. And that's what we're doing, gold and silver. Anyway, I'll leave you with our last check of our gold and our silver. 39.48, a little noon drop, nothing to worry about. 48.50 with silver, the same drop. So we got up to 39.63, a nice little run. This should kick back soon. I'm not too worried. Once we arrive past 10 o'clock, see, you got that 10 o'clock drop here at about 11. and it dropped from 39.58. So it really wasn't much of a drop at all, 6 points. And this will come spike back, 48.52. So that's what we have. So our next stop, 4,000 for gold. And then 40, 41, 42, 45, 5. It's just going to keep going up because the COMEX can't really push it down. And how else is it going to go down? Nobody's selling gold in the right mind. Nobody would sell gold. So that's what you're doing. And you're just going off of that. So look for this to go 39.51. So it's back up a little bit. He kind of pauses and then here we go back and then 48.54. So that's what we got. So I got to update I got to fill in my college. So now I got to fill in my college team rankings. And I'm kind of, I think I'm just going to put in if they got under 300 yards per game or over 500 or they're all on my spreadsheet, but you're going through this mess of so many 130 teams, and you're looking which ones don't score a lot, which ones put up 600 yards, and it's just a lot. So I think if I can format it a little easier for me. But we had a real good weekend. 2-0 on locks on Saturday, and 1-1 locks yesterday. Cleveland has a lock under 1, and Baltimore, Houston as a lock under, did not. Houston scored 44. Baltimore, just everybody was out, but I'd already made the bet. I didn't realize I couldn't do anything about it because the injuries were mostly Saturday. They were hoping they'd play. So I got to be careful with Baltimore. They get the Rams this week. They'll get crushed by the Rams. I mean, this is that's why you got to watch the injuries, because that's the key. That's the neutralizer. No Lamar and half their defense. It's just going to be that's the problem. All right, I think that's it. 39.53. So we're coming back. So again, 39.54. So you can see this comes down, and then here comes the buying in 48.57. So keep your eye on that. It's just do what I do. I just took an inventory. So if you have 100 ounces of gold or 100 ounces of silver, just keep a little spreadsheet and just say, okay, today it's silver's $45. Oh, it's 46. Oh, now it's 48.59. And you just kind of go, well, this is here at 44, and now it's at 48. I made $4.59 per ounce, and I got 100 ounces, so I just made some money. And that way, because otherwise you just see your gold and silver, and gold just says $50 per ounce. So you don't know what you don't really see it. Excuse me. And again, the biggest Ponzi scheme is that this has a 5 on it. So you think it's worth $5, and they don't see this doesn't go down. This should be like 0.001 value, gold 39.54, right? But you're seeing gold at 39.54, but you don't see this at 0.001. That's dollars don't get marked to value. You just see the 1 and the 10 and the 100 on them, and you think that's the value. It's not. It's just that's the number, but it's not. The value of $100 bill is not $100 or not what it used to be. And that's what the inflation is. It kills the value, and that's what you got to understand. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So enjoy your day. I'm going to try to, I don't know if I want to go to the doctor or not. I don't want the antibiotics, but I might go. Really, this is just the type of thing that I think it's a nasal infection, and it just takes a couple of weeks to get rid of. And, I think I'll do some fasting. Maybe I'll start tomorrow fasting and just see if I can fast it out, do a 2-day fast or something. That will cure everything, the fast, because that'll cure your body cures itself. So if you get out of the way, let the autography happen, you'll be fine. All right, I think that's it then. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day. Keep looking, watching your gold and silver, and it's just going to keep running. So just and please understand this has no value, but since we can use it and trade it in Rumpelstiltskin it, then it's worth it. So just keep that in mind. If you do get it in, you don't want to hold it. So you get your paycheck, you pay your bills, you got an extra couple thousand. The last thing you want to do is put it in the bank, put it in the stock market, put it anywhere. All you want to do is take it and turn it into gold. That's all. You really. So when I'm asked the question, how much gold should I have? You're missing the point. It's, do you still have dollars? And it's, get out of dollars is what you should be doing. You want to get out of dollars, not, oh, I'm buying more gold. It's really, oh, good, I can get out of $5,000 and buy gold and silver with it. And, oh, I get another $5,000. Oh, let's get out of those and buy more gold and silver. That's the idea. The more dollars you have, you want to get rid of, because they don't have a value. And you might buy a Rolex, or you might buy this or that, or go on a trip, but it's still, that's the idea. All right. I'm out of here. www.teaserking.com. Have a nice day, everybody. Take care.